No, Jody? Good evening. Welcome to the Wyndham Raymond School District Board of Directors meeting. It is Wednesday, December 18th, 2024, at 6:30 p.m., and we are in the Wyndham High School auditorium. May I have a roll call, please?
Jessica Bridges.
Here.
Jody Carroll. Caitlin Downs.
Here.
Marge Gavoni.
Here.
Shar Jewell.
Here.
Joe Kellner. Here. Grace Levitt.
Here.
Christina Small.
Here.
Ginny Woodman. Jolene Bailey.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
It's right around the corner. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
We don't have any adjustments tonight.
Okay. Now is the opportunity for public input. Purpose of public input is to provide an opportunity to address the board on matters specific to our schools and educational matters. All other comments beyond that scope are not appropriate for this meeting. The board will listen carefully to all members of the public but will not respond. Speakers are expected to follow rules of common decency and decorum. Interrupting any speaker or board member during commentary is not allowed. We ask that all speakers address the board, not the audience. Each person will be permitted to address the board one time during public comment with a maximum speaking time of 3 minutes. Sharing time with another speaker is not permitted. I will alert the speaker at the 3-minute mark. If speakers do not complete their comments within the allotted 3 minutes, they may submit a written statement to the board. Written statements are also accepted from those who do not wish to speak publicly. Requests for information or concerns that require further research will be noted and referred to the superintendent for further action if necessary. Discussion of matters involving individual students is not permitted during public comment due to the privacy, confidentiality, and due process rights of any RSU14 student. Comments regarding any individual staff, either by name or specifically identifiable by position, are not permitted. If the comment continues, the mic will be turned off. Complaints about any district employee should follow the process outlined in policy KEB, public complaints about school personnel, and are not permitted during public comment. We ask that adults share their first and last name and the town they reside in. Students are only required to share their first name. Is there anybody who wishes to speak? Seeing none, we will move on to superintendent's report.
A couple things that I want to share with the board tonight. Last time the board met 2 weeks ago, they had the opportunity to hear from Christine on the achievement report and talk about some of the data for the district. Something that people do sometimes forget is that adult education is actually part of RSU14 and is a part of the education program of what we can offer. And I know Grace has actually taken over a spot and sitting in on those meetings and having their board meeting. But the Wyndham Raymond Adult Education Program has been listed by the Department of Education as an adult education top performer for fiscal year 2024. I don't know how many performers were listed because it says is an. Top performer is a program that's met or exceeded the state target, measurable skills gains, and other performance targets, things like enrollment growth, pre-test materials, post-test testing rates, and then overall data for the program. So just congratulations to that program and all the individuals that work within it. Just do some outstanding work for not only enrichment things for our community and building skills with community members, but also for students who want to take an alternate pathway to a diploma. It's just another way that they can do it. So it was nice to receive that this week. The other thing that we received for adult education is their projected allocation for this upcoming year, and it's actually up about $40,000 from where we've been in the past. Which is a nice jump that we often don't see with state allocation for adult education. It's been pretty flat over the last 4 or 5 years, so to see a $45,000 increase was a nice piece to have. Last night, I had the chance to attend. It was actually an interesting night here at Wyndham High School. We had the winter concert. In addition, we had the first home game for our boys basketball team. There was a very nice dedication that was done last night for Pat Moody and recognizing his work with Wyndham Youth Sports and Wyndham Basketball over the years. The color choice of the night was green in honor of Pat's Celtic following and his desire and love of the game over the years. The entire gym was filled, and that gym has a capacity of about 1,200 to 1,300 people. And it was a very, very nice community night. Bob the screen printer did green T-shirts for those who want to do a donation or to take them, and starting to create the Pat Moody Scholarship. And last night they announced Eric Bowen, who I think came before the board last year after the boys basketball and actually did a nice presentation for the board. He's currently a St. Joe's student. He's also a barber at the Crow's Nest, and was actually the first recipient that was listed last night for that award. So just a great community night. I know, Katie, I think you were there as well last night, and it was nice just to see everybody out and to see the stands filled, not only with current Wyndham sports for Wyndham High School, but then just a number of alumni who showed up for that event. In addition, and it's kind of an interesting situation, across the hall here was the winter concert for the high school. So 1,200 people cheering on that side, 400 people in here watching a winter concert, and just a great concert by our Wyndham High School arts program and the work that they do. And actually already one of the songs that Dr. Nick did last night, I'd love to see us have for opening day next year. But just a wonderful night and just a great spot in the community. There was not any parking whatsoever around this building. Middle school lot was filled, the front lot, the back lot, even spilling over into primary school lot. But just a lot of people out and about in our buildings. Winter break is coming up for our students. You may have heard, if you have a student, that's coming. And so Friday is the last day for break, and then we'll be closing down for a week. And I just want to take a moment to wish everyone a very happy and safe and relaxing winter break, and just a chance to get some downtime for our students to get out and play and do some fun things, and then just for our staff for a chance to unplug and be ready for the new year. It's hard to believe that 2024 is already coming to an end.
Thank you. Next item is board roundtable. Go ahead, Jess.
So the last couple weeks, besides the high school concert, we also had a chorus concert that included primary, Manchester, and the middle school, which was awesome. They did a great job. There was the band. I didn't get to attend that one, but the orchestra was amazing. They did a great job, the 6th graders and then the 7th and 8th together. So they did an awesome job this week.
Go ahead.
I wanted to offer congratulations to the new inductees of National Honor Society that will be held tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Grace.
Yes, just following up on what Superintendent Howell said about Wyndham Raymond Adult Ed. Not surprised that they get that recognition. If you haven't yet looked through the course offerings for Wyndham Raymond Adult Ed, please do. There is literally something for everyone. Just need to find the time to take them all. But truly, it's an amazing array of offerings. And for all types of potential needs or interests. And so I just wanted to be sure if people are aware of that. But the director also said if there is something that isn't yet offered and you have an idea, or if you know of an instructor that might want to offer something, to contact him. And so please do that if you do have some ideas. The theme here is connecting our communities, which is a wonderful theme, and it's throughout the entire catalog. And also, let's see, there was one other thing I was supposed to mention, but I did touch base very quickly with the Raymond Parks and Rec director and the person who is currently leading the age-friendly efforts in Raymond as well, to see if they've heard of some ideas of other things that could be added. So again, anyone interested, please take a look through this and contact the director if you've got some ideas. It's really pretty amazing. So thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on to committee reports. Finance?
I don't know why you always catch me off guard, but you do. We will be meeting again in January, and that will start the long process of meeting with each other more often than we probably want to as we go through the budget process.
Thank you. Facilities?
We have not met this month, but we are working on putting together, as we had mentioned before, the playground committee to evaluate all of the playgrounds and the play areas within all our schools.
Can I ask, are you still looking for members, or have you filled that committee?
We have filled that committee.
Okay, thank you. Jody, sent along the policy readout. Policy met this past Monday, December 16th, and revised the following policies with no substantive changes, so they will not be coming to the full board for a vote. JKF, disciplinary removal of students with disabilities, JKFR, disciplinary removal of students with disabilities administrative procedure, IHB GBA, supplemental statement of rights for private school students with disabilities. We consulted with the Director of Student Services, cross-referenced legal, and checked our current policy against MSMA samples during our revision process, and there were no changes to bring to the board. Note that this finalizes the student policies as part of our initiative to examine each policy that's referenced in the student handbooks. We also finalized a policy that we are bringing you tonight for first reading, generative artificial intelligence, and curriculum has not met. Okay. Report of the Secretary. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the minutes of the December 4th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Board discussion. All those in favor, and this is a roll call vote.
Jessica Bridges,
Yes.
Jody Carroll, Caitlin Downs,
Yes.
Marge Gavoni,
Yes.
Shar Jewell,
Yes.
Joe Kellner, Grace Levitt,
Yes.
Christina Small.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Next item is Manchester Elementary School State of the School. Thank you so much for your patience, Danielle. I think
Thank you for having us this evening. I really appreciate the opportunity to give you an update. And it's kind of nice to be the sole school talking, so I know you're not too rushed on this, but I'll go over, basically, as you know, our comprehensive needs assessment drives our continual improvement process. And we always work to make sure that our school goals align with the strategic plan of the district. Our vision is that Manchester School will create a community that fosters engagement in high-quality learning opportunities and cultivates a strong sense of belonging for all students and all staff. This commitment is reflected in our focus on attendance, engagement, and our academic data. We use a lot of data, NWEA, iReady, our multi-tiered system of supports, our behavior data, our multilingual data, our IEP data. And under that vision, we have it broken into two goals, similar to the board goals and how they're structured, not the board, but the district. Our first goal is that we will provide a safe, inclusive, and engaging learning environment for everyone. And then I'll just talk about a couple bullet points and focus areas under that. And our second goal is that we will align our professional practice and our professional learning with the RSU14 instructional framework. And I'll just talk about a couple steps under that. And then the best part is that Ms. Young, a fifth grade student here, and some of our awesome students are going to share a little bit with you a project that really connects both of the goals, the collaboration, the social learning, problem solving, along with the project-based learning and really engaging and enriching opportunities. So it kind of ties it all together. No pressure, kids. Don't be nervous. All right, so back to, the first goal under goal 1, we have highly engaged and effective professional learning communities. And that's a lot of the work we do on Wednesdays with all our professional staff. We've been also working to provide more differentiated learning opportunities for all teachers and staff, and that includes EdTechs this year in partnership with the student service team. And also some of the work Christine Hessler has done to make sure that the specialists are engaged in professional learning opportunities across the region with the collaborative work that they had in October and throughout the year. Our second focus area under engagement is really looking at attendance of students, of staff, and since the pandemic, it really hasn't been great, and we really want to sort of bring that back and let everybody know that we really value every person every day in school, and some of the ways that we do that is we message that right from the start of school, and then we monitor the data, and we actually support students and families and staff who are having any challenges around that area. We use the district attendance protocol, which is a little structure that the district devised a few years ago in partnership with Count Me In. And we feel that we are doing better this year. We're going to keep watching the data, and we'll let you know. Our social outcomes are really as important as the academic outcomes for everyone. So we start the year with a social emotional SMART goal, and we carry that throughout the year. So when students show up, we make the classroom visions with students involved. We have common expectations for common areas, but every classroom is a unique little microcosm. So we want students to help create that culture and norms and expectations, and that's really important at the beginning of the year, but then throughout the year, we expand that by having culture building circles, restorative circles sometimes. We have a lot of supports in place for individual students through our social work and our school counselor. We also have small groups, art groups and clubs. We have positive behavior supports in place for individual students who need that. Teaching social skills as a direct skill instruction rather than just thinking, oh, kids should know how to do that, but we're actually teaching that. And then finally, just wanted to highlight and thank Board Member Jess Bridges and our other volunteers who really have worked last year and again this year to revitalize our school store. We use eagle feathers, or just a paper token, to acknowledge students who are being safe, responsible, and respectful. And then the school store in the past was money, and kids would have to bring in money and they would buy little stuff that they wanted at the school store. But in terms of belongingness, we want everyone to know that they belong and that everyone has a voice and should be treated equitably. Well, money's not the best way to do that. So we made the paper tokens, the eagle feathers, equate to a currency that students can collect and spend at the school store. And that's been really popular this year. And this year all classes are participating. Last year we had really good participation, but this year we have all the classes participating. So that's exciting. We have worked in collaboration and will continue to work with the Student Service Department and Dr. Bickford, helping us to do an even better job of supporting the students in the BASE program, which is a program that supports students with some emotional needs and growth areas, really leveraging her expertise. She's a local expert and pretty brilliant at this stuff. So our staff has been enjoying that work with her and just sort of tweaking some of the good plans we already had in place to be even better. So that's really exciting work in progress. And then finally, this is a lot of new learning for me and the district as well. We have brought on, as you know, 2 new multilingual teachers at the district level, and the district committee working on building our own capacity to understand what are best practices, how can we serve students with multilingual needs, how can we support their families. So that is new and exciting work, and I think that'll be a real asset for the district. Switching to the second goal, aligning our professional practice with the RSU14 instructional framework, which is grounded in the work of Fisher and Fry. If you read educational stuff, they're pretty famous. But really, if you think of it as I do, the teacher models, we do things together, and then students do, and they take it and they run with it. These kids will talk a little bit about that. That process, that makes it sound really easy. It's not. It's really deep work, and it's ongoing work. Some of the things we're doing have really paid off, and this year we have officially been exited from our Tier 3 Department of Education action plan in math and attendance that was started in 2019. We went all through the pandemic. We really did benefit from the coaching we received through those, our strategic use of the funds, Great Schools Partnership, coaching, collaboration, data reflection. We have become pretty slick at using protocols and using our collaborative time really in a focused way to look at how we can improve outcomes for students in how we're teaching and the experiences they have. We had a summer book study on a book that called Better Learning Through Structured Teaching, which is really all about the instructional framework. It was voluntary for teachers, but we were able to pay them through the use of the Tier 3 funds that we had to spend before they ran out. It was really well attended with about 10 staff participating. And we loved the book so much that now we bought it for every staff, and now we're rolling it out as a book study that we're using through the professional workshop days and our monthly staff meetings. So that's been a really great resource. And then finally, I would say, under the professional growth piece, the 5th grade, and Ms. Young is a member of this team. In the past, we have had most teachers taught all subjects, most of the homeroom teachers. And thinking ahead into the middle school model, last year some teachers said, hey, what if I teach, reading and social studies and my partner teaches math and science and writing, and they shared writing maybe. And we started piloting that last year. It went really well. This year, 8 of 10 of our 5th grade teachers are partnering that way so that they can really become more focused on the fewer curriculum areas and do an even better job in planning for those areas. And that's been really well received. And the difference this year is that because we know this isn't just a little pilot or a trend, it's really working. On the Wednesday time, we have, instead of just PLCs that are a team of teachers that teach everything, many Wednesdays the math science people get together with really the focus on mostly on math as a priority, and then the language arts teachers get together and they do their professional work. So that has been really appreciated and powerful work. In those PLCs, we do have school-wide SMART goals for it. We're going to improve math proficiency, we're going to improve literacy, and we're going to improve engagement, which targets attendance. But each team and each group of students is different, and so those broader school goals are really actualized through each little PLC team, digging into their data, their students, their needs, and then they are each writing SMART goals really specific to their team in a cycle. So it's really dynamic work, it's deep work, and it's really impressive. And I think that's why things are going really well. I'm proud of everybody. And segueing into the project-based learning and how that really can connect the engagement and the proficiency, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Young and our lovely students.
My name is Julie Young. I'm one of the 5th grade teachers at Manchester School, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Market Day, and then the students are going to share a little bit about their experience with Market Day as well. So Market Day is a project-based learning culminating activity about our economics unit. Students learn about money, they learn about marketing, pricing, goods and services, they learn about supply and demand. In addition to the actual Market Day event, they create Shark Tank presentations about the products that they make and Google Slides, and they present them to the class. They keep a ledger where they're learning about adding and working with decimals. So the unit's highly engaging. It extends across social studies, math, technology, writing, and the guiding principles. And students for Market Day create a product that they market, they price, they mass produce, and then they sell it at Market Day. So we open parts of our school into a large market where their students share the products that they've created. So what they're going to do today is they're each going to share their own name, the business name for the business they created, what they made to sell, what they liked best about Market Day. And then each of them will share a little bit about one of the concepts that we learned as part of Market Day. So, Eiley, do you want to go first?
My name is Eiley, and
Eiley, you can pull the mic down a little. Sorry.
Do I turn this?
Just pull it. It will go.
Just
Just hold it. Hold it right up.
my name is Eiley, and the business name was the Tiny Whining Crochet Shop, and I made little crochet worms and other animals to sell. And what I liked best about Market Day was I liked how I got to see others' hard work, and I also liked how Market Day was very nice. Now is, what is economics? Economics is not only the study of money, it's also the study of things that have to do with money. Economics also has some very important words too. Some of those are scarcity, need, want, and resources. Those are just some examples. There are also resources. There are 3 kinds of resources: natural, human, and capital. What are needs and wants? Well, needs are things people need to survive, like food, water, shelter, and so on. Wants are things people want for entertainment, like card games, video games, and TV. Needs are much more important than wants because if you don't have your needs, things to survive, then you won't live as long. I'll say this now and many more times: always get your needs before your wants. My name is Gia Rosie, and my business name was the Christmas Tree, and we sold ornaments, which this is one of our wood ornaments, and then this was one of our CD ornaments. I liked about Market Day, I liked making things because it was fun, and we got to see people buy our stuff. What is the supply and demand and scarcity? Supply is the amount of things you need or for a business, and demand is how much people want it. Then scarcity is that you are low on supplies.
What did you learn about money? Did one of you have that one? Was that you?
My name is Violet. My business name is Pom Pom Pets. I made plushies with little pom-poms on them. I liked how we got to sell stuff and see what other people made. What did I learn about money? I learned how to make smart decisions with how to spend it. Instead of buying the next iPhone, I should buy food and water to keep me alive.
And who did the goods and services? Is that you?
Hi, my name is Carly Gilligan, and my business name was CVJ Keychains. We made positive keychains to sell, and the thing that I liked most about Market Day is seeing other people's hard work and making my products. Goods and services are products. Goods are physical things such as toys, apples, clothes, books, and more. Services are jobs done for you by other people. Some examples are hairstylists, bus drivers, teachers, and lots more. In conclusion, goods and services are everywhere and you see them every day. By creating goods and services for Market Day, we have learned about businesses producing goods and services have been making them and have been making our own goods to sell at Market Day.
Hi, my name is Landon. My business name was Sporty Boys. We sold plushies. What I liked about Market Day is that we learned how to run a business. Our classes did the research by asking kids from both classes what they would like from our products. For instance, what sports do you like better, and what do you like better, felt or fabric?
And then I also have here, this is a card for Roots Recycling. All of our products that we had for the kids to be able to build came from Ruth's. We had many trips to Ruth's, and so we very much appreciate them. So we have added a bunch of pictures of the items students made, and we'll deliver this to Ruth's Recycling. Thank you.
And I just want to thank you all for coming out on you were not free tonight. You were all busy tonight. You gave up some basketball, some dance, some activities that you were signed up to do. So I really do appreciate you coming out. Thank you very much. And I just want to say thanks to Ms. Young for showing up too. Really appreciate it. It's a busy time of year. And thanks to all the parents and community members who have come to exhibitions at our school in the past 2 weeks alone. We estimated easily over 100 parents and community members have showed up to see the different exhibitions, Market Day, the animal biome projects last week. There's just a lot going on, and we feel really blessed and supported by the community for people taking off during the work week and showing up for us. It's really wonderful. So thank you. Do you have any questions?
I had a couple questions. First, my only criticism, that's not even a great word for Market Day, was that I only had 3 eagle feathers to leave as a tip. I think that was felt by some other parents. We really wanted to either be able to buy some things, which we couldn't,
Yes.
or give out some more, because there was a lot of really great
Yes.
projects. I just had one other question. You had talked about teaching social skills specifically. Does that happen in the classroom, or is that part of the guidance block?
It is.
Or both?
It's both. There's layers to it. So I would say the core layer is there is the instruction through guidance classes in every classroom. There's also a role for the culture building and restorative circles to reinforce, to discuss, and to emphasize different social skills, how to communicate, problem solve, share feelings. So that's been a really good vehicle. And then there's individual social skills instruction, social stories, there's curricula we use, and then there's small group as well. So there's really layers of that.
Okay, and you didn't mention it, but I believe you have win time in your schedule.
Different teachers call it different things, but yes,
but you have like an intervention block built into your schedule.
Yes, and it's not like one block through the whole day, like I think middle school has like Pride block, or,
Right.
But every team has, based on their own master schedule, a time dedicated where students can get, they call it PLT time, personal learning time,
Okay.
or win time. We have a lot of interventions happening at that time, and other times as well.
Okay, can you give an example of a student who doesn't need any interventions, what kind of enrichment they might be able to participate in that time frame?
There's different layers of that as well. Win time is really what I need for everyone, so it's not just remediation or reteaching or differentiated instruction for students who need extra help. It's opportunities to expand. There's Genius Hour sometimes. Certain rooms call it Genius Hour, where they have projects of interest that they really can go deep on. Sometimes they're working with partners. There's also collaboration with the Title I staff and the special education staff to have intervention groups happening at that time, whether they're in the classroom or in small groups. And then I would say something that has been a nice addition. It started last year and it's continuing this year. 5th grade calls it Club Friday now. It used to be Fun Friday, but that was too fun. Now it's Club Friday. And 4th grade calls it Eagle Block, and they'll be starting that when we come back from break. And that's an opportunity sometimes during the wind time or PLT time, once a week, Wednesdays for 4th grade and Fridays for 5th, where the teachers have called on community members, themselves, volunteers, even high school students to come on over and to have clubs of interest where students then can sign up and delve into there's all different kinds of things. This time there's line dancing coming up, and there's been outdoor games, there's been crocheting, crafting, maker space, coding, like just this ever-evolving opportunity for students to have that opportunity. What I like about the Wednesday and Friday opportunities is that it is across teams. So students get to meet students from all the 9 or 10 classrooms on their grade level. And that sets them up to have more peers when they move on to the next year. So that's really nice, I think.
Anyone
Kids,
else?
do you like it? Do you like Club Friday? Yeah.
We all set? All right, thank you so much for your time this evening. It was so
Yeah.
good to see all of you 5th graders.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yes. Our next item is the auditor's report presented by R.H.R. Smith and Company.
And I'll go ahead and do a brief introduction here. So, believe it or not, the audit starts in June, and in the case of this audit, I think we finished up this morning with some documents going back and forth. So it is a lengthy process in which our business office staff are working with Ron and his staff to look at all the books for RSU14, and that includes everything within our operating funds. It includes select federal funds when they reach a certain monetary threshold. It includes some tests of the school checking accounts to make sure that we're following policies and practices and things like that throughout. So it is a lengthy process. It involves the auditors coming on site and pulling files and going through different pieces to us sharing files and sending information over, and it's an exchange of information that goes back and forth. And just before I introduce Ron, I just want to say a big thank you to Stacy Webster, Wendy Loring, Lori Fabrizio-Bowen, Kelly Sampson, Chris Hebert, and Carrie Lynn Mealy in our office. It's been a lengthy process and involves sometimes multiple trips to the basement to grab old files to make sure that we are sending everything that we possibly can as documentation as it's being asked for with our auditing firm. So it's a tremendous amount of work, and again, I just want to thank and specifically thank Stacy, who does the yeoman's work on this as far as getting materials out and present. Ron Smith, who's president of RHR Smith, this is the 3rd year, I think, that RHR Smith has done the audit for RSU14 and has prepared some slides for board members. The overall audit was put into your packets this afternoon. That's how fresh the audit is. And most certainly, if there's questions that come up after tonight or when the audit gets posted to the community to our website, more than happy to answer any questions that people might have of things contained within the audit or things that you notice within it. Part of making sure that we're on the agenda for tonight, by state statute, we need to upload the audit to the Maine Department of Education by the end of this year, or by January 1. So looking to make sure that we stay compliant. For those of you on the board last year, remember that it took us a little while to close out our audit, and thank you to Shar for helping us with some contacts with our Davis-Bacon paperwork, with one of our vendors that we had done some federal work with. And so tonight we're going to hear from Ron and just give an overview, and again, if people have specific questions, more than happy to answer any questions that they might have after this presentation.
Good evening. I'm Ron Smith. You guys have made my night. I went to the U, St. Joseph's College, 40 years ago. My sister was a student teacher at Manchester Elementary School. Sister Mary Jude and myself, when they were going through the teacher shortage back in the 80s, had to come and recruit that classroom to teaching, and that was her presentation she had back then. And as soon as I head back to Waterville, I'm going to call her up and tell her the fun I just had tonight. So she'll get a big kick out of that. So just wanted to tell that little story. You ought to be proud of that. I know she will be. I'm Ron Smith. I'm principal with RHR Smith & Company. We audit over 2/3 of all the school systems in the entire state of Maine and 2/3 of all of the school systems in the entire state of Vermont. So we know who you are and what you are. We've grown from 38 people to 84 people in a period of 14 months, and I feel every bit of it right now. It's been really some struggles, and but certainly, we were able to bring this audit, in compliance across the finish line before the end of the year, as we've always done, and and I'm just going to hit the highlights of the 100 pages of a set of financial statements that you guys all have, if you don't mind. So I'll start with an unmodified opinion. That's the highest opinion that we offer. So you received that unmodified opinion in us for 6/30/2024. We do 2 audits, as Chris said. We do a financial statement audit, which you are by law to have done. And because you spend more than $750,000 of U.S. federal government money passed through the Department of Education, we do something called a single audit, or an audit in accordance with uniform guidance. Last year, we tested the ESSER program. We are glad to see that program going away, to only to be replaced probably over the next 3 years by new federal, COVID money. But this year, we tested your food service program. We found no findings, in that area, or financial statement findings. To hit the highlights, and I think you guys have a summary of the presentation in front of you. I'm just going to hit the highlighted pages. Just bear with me. I'm on, I believe it's the second page in your handout. It's a picture of your balance sheet as of June 30, 2024. You're going to see the big one in particular, second number up from the bottom, the totality of your carryover balance, surplus, or fund balance, in the governmental world of about $11.8 million. That's up about $1 million over where it was last year. It was a busy year for RSU14 with a major renovation project and putting through $3.5 million worth of federal funds, through your organization in addition to your $60 million budget. You guys are a busy school. So your fund balance increasing over $1 million from the last year. There was a lot of movement of money with the renovations. You guys had calculatedly for that renovation put money away. That's been moved to your, to a variety of capital reserve funds or the middle school renovation fund, where it is that you guys expected it to land years ago when, when you guys had the foresight to do that. The number went from about $5 million down to about $1,760,000. What's the moral of the story? Building a new $80 million school, it's like driving a car off a lot, so time to replenish those capital reserve funds is certainly what I would say, for this school system and to any school system that certainly just goes through a major renovation of yours and continues to try to maintain infrastructure. I understand you guys got a major HVAC renovation coming up, possibly at Raymond School, in the future. So your fund balance went up. Your undesignated fund balance went up about little less than $4 million this year, largely in part to regular instruction and special education being underspent. Those 2 cost centers were underspent, for 6/30/24, allowing that money to go back to your bottom line, and the district can reappropriate that money for future years. And I think that there's already discussion about moving that back into capital, and I think that that's the right thing to do. I would certainly endorse that for sure. And I believe, as standing on with tradition, you guys used $1 million of that fund balance that I just talked about for budget reduction in 2025, the year that will end about 6.5 months down the road. So that's pretty much what the first, slide of significance tells you with your balance sheet as far as your financial condition. Tells you the residual of about $78 million to be spent with your renovation, in the second column. And the rest is really your grant funds. There's a lot of people don't understand this, and it's like, wow, there's more to it. Yeah, you guys put through $3.5 million worth of other funds, that are non-local funds, through your books is the best way I can say say it, to offer a variety of entitlement programs. ESSER, certainly this was the last, for lack of a better word, round of ESSER as they get depleted and spent this year. So I'm not sure what we're going to see down the road. I understand there's more infrastructure money coming. I just don't know what it's going to look like. So, but that's the statement of your first slide in there that has the numbers for your balance sheet, your governmental funds. The rest of slides, that just talk about, to give you a snapshot, the next 3 or 4, just snapshots of where your assets, where your liabilities, your obligations, where your equity was, for the past 3 years. We always like to put that, into context with it. If you were asked me, hey, Ron, is there something, that jumps out at you that you would say, talk about this? Your unassigned fund balance has gone up, okay? We've seen that for the past 2 or 3 years since COVID, that a lot, now when I say a lot, probably 80 to 90% of the school systems have either maintained or increased their fund balance, carryover balance to the next year. We're actually starting, I know you guys are into your budget season, we're actually starting doing 25 audits, and a lot of the schools are concerned, that these savings that they're seeing through their cost centers and, and some of the return of their money, that they're not going to be there in future years. So they want to stay out of that. We're seeing fund balance and carryover balances drying up as we speak, both in the states of Maine and Vermont. And certainly as you have it, what I would say is capital certainly is something that I would advise at the top of your list while you still have your unassigned fund balance and while you have capital needs, is to put that money away. Typically what we also see, special ed reserves, maintenance reserves, and you really have been very in foresight, with this district and putting those monies away. And that increase in your fund balance, I think, should be targeted for exactly those same needs again going forward. And then the next set of numbers that you're going to see, statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, this is right out of your audit. The best way that I can say it is between what came in the door for educational assessments from the state, what came in the door through local property taxation. It went out the door to fund your 11 cost centers and move your capital money around. You guys had about a $938,000, swing, and there's the reason why your fund balance went up about $1 million for a variety of reasons. Cost centers underspent, investment earnings coming in, there. So again, that's really more of a depiction, of what your general fund, your educational budget looked like for last year, followed by your capital projects fund for your middle school. The other governmental funds, the pages that you don't see on this, there's about 40 pages in your regular audit report of all the various grants that run through this organization, in addition to your regular education budget. Those are in the 100-page document that I just told you. This is a summary of what those pages are. And there's nothing that really, as I can remember, for reserve accounts that really jump right out at me to say, hey, you should really talk about this one. But you do have about $1 million set aside in reserves. I think there's a laptop reserve. I think that there's some grants, from miscellaneous grants that carry over from year to year that typically, schools have. So again, in addition to your education budget, there's probably over $4.5 million of other revenues and expenses running through your books that aren't part of your 11 cost centers that get approved every year. So you're busy. It's a complicated business that you run. I've been doing it for 35 years. It's getting more complicated. It's not getting any easier. And there's always these unfunded mandates that requires you more to do more with less. So I commend Stacy, for really providing us and delivering us the information so we can sit here before you and, and talk about this audit. And the one thing I'll say about Stacy, and I wish there were more Stacys out there, when she has a question or a problem, she'll call. To the point where, I won't say it was harassment, but I deserved it if it was. She will get me to her office. And I'll tell you, an $80 million building project will put a lot of stress on your finance officer. And she has absolutely no problem, reaching out when she says, I need some help, I need you now, and I really appreciate that. I really wish there were more Stacey Websters out there, in this profession. So, because there's a lot of struggle. The conversations always don't roll this way. Some of your business partners out there in the education world are 4 years behind, 5 years behind, 6 years behind in their audits. So you aren't. And that's great pride, for the people that sit in administration and in those finance chairs. And like I say, I really can appreciate Stacy reaching out all the time and really looking for that answer, looking to understand. So,
If I can just take the board, if you're on that statement of revenues page, just want to highlight a couple pieces on that line. So first of all, our net change in fund balance or carryover was $936,000. When we met with finance, I think the number at the time was around $760,000. It did go up a little bit. But again, for the public to know, that is a very small percentage of our budget that's actually left over at the remainder of the year. And Ron is absolutely right. Some of our unassigned did go up a little bit this year as funds moved around. And as we have a conversation tonight about Raymond Elementary School HVAC, one place to look at with fund balance, and of course this only can happen through the May budget meeting, is to allocate that directly towards that project to bring that balance down. That next column, middle school project, just a reminder to the board, that's only band number 2. And we have first bond, which will be $125 million, which will be coming in May, and then a second bond of $45 million for that larger $170 million project. So again, that fund balance, which if you show that total amount at the very end of $92 million, most of that $92 million on hand is actually money from middle school band that's there for construction. So again, I just want to echo what Ron said with Stacy and the business office tracking those costs associated with construction, as well as managing everything else that's happening within the general fund. And again, that general fund includes money that is been designated by our community for special projects and also has some unassigned at this point. And we have done a number of capital projects between Manchester HVAC, Manchester upgrades, and as well as Wyndham Primary School roof and floor and other things that are going on. And we know we've got some other big projects that are happening. So quite a bit happening.
You're a busy school system, for sure. So.
Questions? No? All right, I think we all need some time to go through this since we
We're
got this
available at
afternoon.
we're available at any point in time for any follow-up questions. Chris knows where to find me. Stacy for sure knows where to find me. So,
Greatly appreciate it. Thank you so
listen,
much.
you made my night. Thank you.
Okay, next item is supposed to be the Wyndham High School course presentation. Should we skip that, Mr. Howell, until Ryan Karen shows up?
Yes, he should be here, but I know he was on his way over from Gorham, so maybe we could jump to new appointments and then come back, if that's okay with the board.
I'm fine with that. Okay, so we're going to jump to new appointments. May I have a motion, please?
Okay, I move to approve the following appointments for the 2024-2025 school year. Dakota Duplessis, Resource Room Teacher, Wyndham Middle School, Bachelor, Step 1, at a salary of $47,311, prorated to $27,034.80.
Second.
Board discussion? All those in favor?
Jessica Bridges,
Yes.
Caitlin Downs,
Yes.
Marge Gavoni,
Yes.
Shar Jewell,
Yes.
Joe Kellner, Grace Levitt,
Yes.
Christina Small.
Yes. All right, motion carries. Next item, Raymond Elementary School HVAC project. May I have a motion, please?
I move to award Mechanical Services of Portland, Maine, the apparent lowest qualified bidder, the Raymond Elementary School HVAC project in the amount of $2,425,465. This project will be funded through capital reserve and lease purchase.
Second.
Thank you. Public comment, board discussion? Chris, can you just go into a little more detail about the financing for this project, please?
Sure. So, and the board is very aware, but for any public that might be watching tonight, this is finishing year 2 of a 3-year project at Raymond Elementary School for upgrading the HVAC system that's there, not only to improve ventilation, but then also to add some cooling circuits to that building. If anyone's ever been to Raymond Elementary School and has been to the third floor, that floor is actually, I think, the warmest section of RSU14 as far as classroom goes. It is not uncommon in the spring to get those classrooms into the 90s, even with air conditioning. So it's a project that's been long overdue, but as part of that project, number one, we had to get three-phase power from Plains Road up to the school. That was done in year one. Year two required some infrastructure with a building built off the back of the building to house electrical equipment, and then in addition to make some space for some future electrical equipment. And year three will be some air source heat pumps, as well as the installation of electrical equipment, and then the actual work in the building that needs to take place. For the board, typically we would be doing lease purchases and we would be doing financing in June for July projects. I know board members have been here long enough and have heard from Bill long enough that there isn't anything left that's on the shelf as far as purchases goes. If anything that you want to do electrical now, I think in the Manchester project and even the RES project, we were looking at almost a year of ordering time to even get a piece of equipment. With HVAC, we're about a 6-month lead time. We have $65,000 in the budget this year to be able to cover our down payment, to then have the equipment ordered. And the board will be doing the financing on this as we get past the public budget meeting. This will be paid for through reducing some of our unassigned fund balance, though through capital, which will be done at the May budget meeting. In addition, we have other components of this project that are being finalized that will happen through lease purchase. Manchester was a 10-year lease purchase. I anticipate that this will be a 10-year lease purchase as well. Finance Committee is going to discuss how much of capital reserve that we're going to want to recommend to the public. We're probably looking somewhere in the neighborhood of between $1 million and $1.3 million that we're going to want to designate. And that does a couple things for us, is it reduces the overall debt and also reduces the overall impact to the upcoming budget. But it is a project that I know the Raymond Elementary School staff has known about. They've been wanting to see happen, and will significantly increase the quality of air and everything else that happens with the classrooms up on that third floor. So tonight you're voting basically to allow us to make that down payment to start the contract. Mechanical Services is the most qualified low bidder for this, and they will then start that work of procuring. In the event that you decide not to finance this in June, we would need to take a look at, do we just put the equipment on hold and look to have that for a future date? I have talked this through with our finance attorney, what we're doing, and being able to then delay it is perfectly fine. The qualified bidding process that Bill went through, we shouldn't have any problems financing it. So again, this is just to buy the equipment as far as a down payment and then get the project moving.
Further questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Jessica Bridges,
Yes.
Caitlin Downs,
Yes.
Marge Gavoni,
Yes.
Shar Jewell,
Yes.
Joe Kellner,
Yes.
Grace Levitt,
Yes.
Christina Small.
Yes?
Okay.
All right, motion carries. We can jump back to Wyndham High School course presentation now that Mr. Karen has joined us.
Thank you. I apologize for being late. My meme would put me under the table for being late to dinner. We've got a number of courses to look at. Do you guys have them in the packet? So as you know, we are working to increase the number of elective courses with the hopes that we'll be able to move to a curriculum that allows students to choose courses based on their interest and a little less prescripted and a little bit more choice-based. In order to do that, we need to provide courses that kids are interested in. We did a poll last spring, and we found that students, were interested in business courses. They were interested in sports medicine courses, things like that. So I shared that information with the staff when they built their course recommendations. So as we talked about last year, I'm bringing courses for approval, and then I run them in the master schedule, and if students choose, if we get enough kids that want to take the courses, then we run them. If we don't, we have them for the next iteration. So we're not under the assumption that all of these courses will necessarily run next year, but we'd like to have them approved so that we can run those that students are interested in. The first class is AP Research. So that would be an advanced placement course on research. It could be taught by any core teacher, so any social studies, English, science, or math teacher. It would be for elective credit, but if it's completed in conjunction with 3 additional AP classes, then students would be eligible for an AP capstone designation, which could be on their transcript and would support the capstone work that we do. The second course would be an AP seminar course, which is the course that the AP is really, College Board is really pushing. It is kind of the introduction to AP courses with the attempt to get students prepared for the rigor and the workload of an AP course. It would be taught by an English teacher. It could be a replacement for English 10, so our students would have, it would be their first opportunity to take an AP class in 10th grade instead of waiting until 11th grade. Or it could be an elective AP class for 10, 11, or 12. It would be one of the courses that could be taken in conjunction with AP Research for the capstone. The next course that we'd like to offer is Criminology and Statistics. This would be taught by, we have a math teacher who also has a degree in criminology, and the idea would be to use criminology and statistics, global statistics to teach stats, to teach math. So to get to math, get to our 4th math credit, as you know, we require 4 years of math. Most schools only require 3. So that senior year, once a student gets beyond Algebra 2, we've got higher level math, we've got pre-calculus, and we've got statistics, AP statistics, calculus. We also offer a business math, and we offer algebra for the trades now. So we're looking for creative ways for students to fulfill that 4th math credit. The next class would be entrepreneurship, taught by a social studies teacher for an elective credit. That would address our student interest in business. We'd like to present a half-year elective in event planning, taught by a core teacher. We have Intro to Business Principles, where we've taken the curriculum that's developed for AP Business and made it accessible to 10th and 11th and 12th graders. Introduction to Investing, which is probably the biggest. We have an investing club that just started. That's something that kids are really interested in doing. That could be taught by a social studies math teacher or in conjunction with a social studies and math teacher working together, kind of work the math and the business side of things. Sports medicine, sports psychology, taught by a science teacher or a health teacher. That could fulfill, if we did it right, our second Health 2 requirement. As you know, we're the only school I know of that requires a full year of health education. So we offer Health 1 for all freshmen, mostly freshmen and sophomores. Then we have a Health 2. We also have Life Outside of High School that fulfills that. We're working on Science and Practice of Yoga, fulfilling that as well. If we did this right, sports medicine, sports psychology, that could fulfill that requirement as well, also be an elective. And then probably my favorite is the unified wellness. So building on our unified basketball, unified bocce, unified club. This would be a PE class, a quarter credit PE class that would be taught by a special educator, and it would be for identified students and non-identified students to earn their PE together. Any questions?
Go ahead, Marge. Oh.
Let him go.
I was wondering if it would be possible or why the intro to investing class wouldn't satisfy a math credit.
Did you hear that?
So the investing class, so we looked at it initially as an elective credit, but we could look at it as a math credit depending on if we got a math teacher to teach it and how the schedule worked. If it was a certified math teacher teaching it and we constructed it that way, then that could cover a math credit. If it was if the schedule played out that it was a social studies teacher that was available then it would be more of an elective credit. But we did think about that, yes.
So the why is you're not sure you have the certified math teacher for it to
Correct.
qualify for math? Okay.
Correct.
Make sure his question got answered. Good.
Thank you.
Marge.
Okay, on the ones that basically don't have any prerequisites, would that be open to freshmen through seniors, or?
So it could be open to freshmen. The freshman courses are pretty full. I'm trying to address electives for sophomores and juniors in particular. But if there was a freshman that was interested and there was a space there, we could do that as well. If we could, my hope is that we can have some opportunities for juniors and seniors to take elective classes. Right now, our art classes are super popular. We have a big waiting list for art classes. And so the way that the schedule fills, it fills backwards, seniors to freshmen. Kids who need the credits, they're really close to graduating, back. So some juniors and sophomores really who need a class will scoop up a art class, and then a freshman who really is interested in art won't have access until later on. And we're trying to set a pathway for kids who may want to go to an art school. And so if they want to go to an art school, they have to be developing a portfolio early. And so maybe some sophomores and juniors that aren't really interested in art, but if they've got to take a class, they take one of those classes because they're so great, would grab one of these, which would open up a spot there. If there's a freshman that really wanted the investing, the entrepreneurship, freshmen could be in those classes. We're really looking at sophomores and juniors. Freshmen have their 4 core. They have a PE, freshman health. More and more are taking a language. So their schedule is in pretty good shape right now. It's sophomore, junior that we're really targeting for students who aren't taking a bunch of AP classes. And aren't taking higher beyond their second year of a language. What would they like to take and have them engaged at school?
Yeah, your philosophy makes sense.
Thank you.
Shar, was your hand up? Yeah, go ahead.
So just a couple, I like the grouping as I do every year when you come to talk to us about these. But some specific questions or suggestions, I should say. Like, for example, the AP seminar class. Would that be a class that you would have, when I read the description, I was like, you know what? Something that would be really handy to have as an addition to this curriculum would be to have a legal person come in, like a lawyer, that could really put into everyday, real life, this is how you present your argument. That could be pretty valuable. It almost sounds like it might be like a little bit of debating a little bit.
It's creating arguments,
Yep.
yes.
Right, so maybe a lawyer in town would be happy to come in and talk to them about that. That would be a great real-world experience for that class. And then the entrepreneurship, really like that idea, really like that class. Is there some consideration for inviting successful local business leaders to come in and talk to them?
That's a part of the plan was
Okay.
a series of guest speakers and a series of,
Okay.
and then it would be the hope is that it could be a pipeline for the ELOs
Yep.
and for that work as well.
Yep. And then the introduction to business principles, again, really love this subject matter. Anything we can do to help kids be ready for their adulthood when they walk out in June is great. One of the things that in this specific class that want to make sure that is on the radar for being included is human resources and legal. Because if you're going to be in management in a business, HR and legal are like your most important things. My boss, who is the president of our company, when we go places, she jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, introduces me as the person who keeps her out of jail, because that's my profession. So make sure that that's part of the talking points. It's not just about making widgets and selling them. It's how do you stay out of jail?
All of those pieces.
Yeah, that's kind of important.
And
is
it
how do-
was,
how do you stay out of
it
jail.
was interesting to us that the business was at the top of the student interest.
Yeah.
We knew art, but business for sure is of interest of a lot of kids.
Yeah. And then the investing class, great idea again. I was reading through this and it was reminding me of the contest that they do at Jordan Small that my daughter was a part of. And she really enjoyed doing that. Her number one college pick that she's looking at right now, Roger Williams University, they actually have a class, an investing class, where the kids are given $500,000 to invest. And every year, except for 2, they have made a profit. And in those 2 years, they broke even. So I was thrilled to see this. Part of this also, I want to make sure is included discussion about 401ks, IRAs, health savings accounts. All of those can be used as retirement accounts. So it's not just investing in stocks and bonds, it's how do you invest for your future, for your retirement. So those are 3 avenues that I deal with on a daily basis that should be part of the curriculum as well. And then the sports psychology, sports medicine, is that similar to any classes at VOC?
So the medical occupations has some of those pieces to it. This is a teacher, it's a class that's offered in Gorham as a replacement for their 1/2 credit. That's very, very popular. So a teacher reached out and got some curriculum there. We looked at the psychology portion of it. We offer AP psychology and we also offer psychology. And those classes are currently taught by social studies teachers. And over time, AP for sure, the College Board is morphing that into a science, more of a science than a social sciences. So this is kind of us dipping our toe into that pool to say, can look at psychology through a science lens instead of social studies lens and move forward.
And I would imagine part of that class would be to have like the athletic trainer that works with our football and soccer teams come in and talk to the students as well, right? Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Grace?
Very quick question, just on the English 10 AP seminar. It says 3 credits expected. Is that correct?
For
credit expected.
it would be the 3rd credit. So it's a 1 credit class. It would be
One, okay.
So the AP classes are 1 credit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I had that same question, Grace, thank you.
Yeah.
My only other question about that AP seminar, you just said it would be the 3rd credit, but it says it could be offered as an English 2, so they complete English 1 and then they could take AP seminar?
So if they wanted, right, so that would be that's the recommendation from the College Board, that it be taught by an English teacher and that it can be offered in 10th grade, where typically AP Lit and AP Composition are 11 and 12, so this would be an early entry, and it's less content, more skills, and data that the College Board is sharing is that we're getting better scores in both AP Comp and AP Lit if they've taken AP Seminar first before they take them in. So we would offer it as that high-level AP class for 10th graders, and then so they'd have AP Seminar, Honors English 10, Academic English 10, and then they could move forward. But if anybody has already a junior or senior, they could take it additionally as an elective or an additional English credit, but either way, it doesn't matter. They would be, once they're at 4 English, they're fine. So it would be, we'd like to promote it to our highest English performing students in 10th grade, and also as an additional AP opportunity for students who really want to beef up their transcript after 10th grade as we offer it.
Okay, thank you. Further questions? Oh, great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We vote on these next time. Yep. All right, we are back to policies. May I have a motion, please?
I move to, I move to approve the first revised read of policy IAI, RSU14, use of generative artificial intelligence.
Second.
Thank you. Public comment? Board discussion? Okay, Jody sent along here is, this policy is new to the district. There are no current samples or policies to reference from MSMA or other districts within Maine or largely across the country. However, Drummond-Woodsum did provide a document for our team to reference with some policy and procedural considerations. Our work on this policy followed the following process. First, we referenced the Drummond-Woodson procedural guidelines document as an outline and pared it down to a policy. Second, we consulted for 6 hours' time with district library media specialists, tech integrators, and technology director for the district to review the Drummond-Woodson sample, review the best application for the teaching tool for our district, and reviewed the current state within RSU14. The library media specialists and tech integrators have managed a website for the district and provided professional development and ongoing training for staff for brisk teaching. So we provided professional development and ongoing training for staff for brisk teaching within the district for the last year. Side note, Brisk Teaching is a Chrome add-on that works as a simple teaching assistant to improve efficiency and provide support for educators in the district. This technology is currently being used by 20,000 districts in addition to assisting with the instructional strategies and tools. Brisk has the ability to assist in detecting plagiarism and other citing considerations. Lastly, our committee utilized the training provided to board members, administration, and the technology committee members over the last 2 years to lend perspectives into the policy and procedural aspects that would be appropriate for RSU14. The policy committee concluded that generative AI has aspects that do require board oversight, but the procedural aspect of this tool in the district should largely be managed by our administration. This tool, like any other teaching tool, may not be used by staff in the district must follow the same guidelines outlined in other board policies. Note, since there are currently no generative AI applications available at this time that have student privacy agreements, this policy only references guidelines for staff at this time. We recognize that students may be using tools like Gen AI outside of an RSU14 device. However, our policy intends to provide acceptable use guidelines for staff at this time. The policy reviews the following structure: acknowledgement of generative AI as a tool and its potential definitions, acceptable use, student data privacy agreement considerations, attribution when citing, professional development considerations. Our administration will develop the appropriate procedures in consideration of this policy and other district policies to guide the effective and appropriate use for this tool and next step for district staff. So, in summary, we finished this on Monday, and part of the reason that we put it on this week's agenda is because once it gets approved, it needs to go to the administration to create procedures, and we didn't want to have that 3-week time lag because it's already being used. So we really wanted to get these guidelines in place, which is kind of why we add this last minute. Questions? Great. All those in favor?
Jessica Bridges,
Yes.
Caitlin Downs,
Yes.
Marge Gavoni,
Yes.
Shar Jewell,
Yes.
Joe Kellner,
Yes.
Grace Levitt,
Yes.
Christina Small.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Would anybody like to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the regular meeting.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Jess Bridges,
Yes.
Caitlin Downs,
Yes.
Marge Gavoni,
Yes.
Shar Jewell,
Yes.
Joe Kellner,
Yes.
Grace Levitt,
Yes.
Christina Small.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in the new year.